My name is Sandra Lavarek from Sedona, Arizona. I heard from this clinic by clients I had who had come here, and they had such a great experience. And I was doubting it, but it was several people. And they had major work done, such as root canals. I think one person had about, I want to say 16. And he was so unhealthy. But he said he had no pain. So that got me going. That's what made me come here the first time. I come from a family of dentists. And initially I had an experience of vertigo. And I went to so many doctors. It lasted for 4 or 5 years. And finally I had kind of a seizure with this vertigo, which lasted like 6 hours. And I called my uncle up, who was about 86, and he's a dentist. And I told him what was going on. I had spent so much money on doctors, could not figure out what it was. He told me to fly up to Wisconsin where he works, and he'll fix it. I get into his office within a half hour of being in the chair. He measures me with the EAV technology. That's electrodermal measuring of the acupuncture meridians by Dr. Volve. And he had me touch the 2 places where my wisdom teeth were taken out years before. And the sound corrects itself when you touch it. The circuit is closed, so you know that's the culprit. Within an hour, he cleaned it, and I never got vertigo again. Boom, it was gone. That really impressed me. Well, then years later, I started having heart palpitations, and my uncle told me to get that checked where the other wisdom teeth were. He wasn't practicing anymore, so I came down here. And the x-ray does not show it. Didn't for me. But I insisted they do exploration, and the dentist who was doing it was so surprised when he put a sharp object down where the wisdom tooth was on the left side, which is the heart meridian. And it was so deep, he couldn't believe it. And he cleaned that out, and the heart palpitation stops. That was another big one for me. So I've shared that with many people with heart palpitations and fibrillation. It's really impressive. So and so I sent several people just for that. And then I sent people with, I can measure the charge. I do the same thing that my uncle does, and that's measuring with the EAV technology. I'm not a dentist, but I can tell them where the problem is. I can see it, I can hear it. And when they hear it, then they believe that that's for real. They see the meridian, it usually matches up with the symptom. So instead of treating the symptom, I'm getting to the cause, and I send them down here. Everybody I've sent here come back to me, and they say it was the best experience. And I have 2 older people, maybe they're our neighbors. They had suffered for years and spent $11,000 on one dentist in Sedona and then down in Scottsdale, and they said they were just suffering. He had a lot of fibrillation. He had heart problems for 10 years, and she had all kinds of illnesses. They came down here, and I think they took 2 weeks to get everything done. I mean, I kept telling them, better to lose your teeth than an organ. And they came back, and they've showed me the work you've done. I'm so impressed because my grandfather used to make dentures by hand. And today what I see is done here is so professional and so soft and fits so well in their mouth. I think it's like an artwork, right? It kind of impressed me on that. And to see their face, and they come up and they say, thank you so much. It's changed our life. He doesn't have heart fibrillation anymore. She just says she doesn't have all these symptoms. So it always depends what meridian it was on for what symptom shows up. It's really impressive. And the man I live with, Alan, he had a symptom like that. When I first met him, he had a cough that was horrible. And I said, what is that? And he said, that's allergies. I said, that is not an allergy. I said, do you have root canals? Yeah, but I've had it for years. That's what everybody says. And I said, you got to get it out. It's toxic. We came down here. Well, we went to his original dentist in Algodón. He put it in, and he said, no, it's a good tooth. I said, no, it was on his lung meridian. So we left that dentist, and we came here, and they tried to convince Alan to get it removed, and he didn't want to. He was hesitant. As soon as they took it out, within an hour, no more of that coughing he had. Now, I have a video on my website about this where my uncle had the same experience of a woman who coughed for 20 years, nearly coughing herself, and she would pass out every day. As soon as they got the root canal out, it stopped. So instead of treating symptoms, I'm focusing on the cause, and I send them here. And it's working. Yeah, the first time I used the shuttle, it was so easy. I loved it. That's what I tell my clients all the time. Use the shuttle because they don't speak Spanish. They're afraid. And I said, yeah, drive you over. It's nothing. Personally, we've driven a couple times now. This last time we came over via Tecate to avoid the traffic in San Diego. It was easy. American Biodental Center, where you get the dental work done. And then across the hallway, you have the holistic care, where you can get IVs at such a competitive price to the States, which I recommend to people to do with the vitamin C before and after they get major surgery. But they have every other IV. There's a list of them on the website. It's fabulous. It's really a good deal.